Hello and welcome, viewers of GGvision and Starcraft fans. I am Sebastian Sjöberg, and today I've got a very, very special guest with me here on the show, straight from South Korea. Liquid Jinro, how are we doing today?
Doing pretty good. A little bit tired. Had to wake up kind of early by pro gaming standards to go to the group selection ceremony for GSL March. So,
Oh, what a
doing
chore.
good though. Oh yeah. It was hard stuff. Well,
Of
GSL
course.
always have you wake up. Well, arrive really early, so we arrived at like 1 p.m. and did nothing. Well, we did makeup and then sat around for 2.5 hours waiting for all the other guys to finish their makeup, and then we started at like 3:30 or something. So
Well, that sounds a bit like a chore. Does that also mean that many pro gamers are ugly and require a lot of makeup?
it does more likely mean that there's a lot of pro gamers to do makeup for. They arrive like a few at a time. They don't have enough people to do makeup for, how many is it? 32 people at once. So it's like batches of 4 people, four, and then all the commentators and all the other people that show up on stream. Like, yeah, lots of people.
I can see that, but of course it's something you've done before now. You and some of the others. Well, of course you're the only Liquid member in Code S right now, but you're all veterans by this stage. And was the group ceremony, which I'm sure all viewers of this interview will have already watched because it's out already. Was it any different this time? How did it feel like to stand there again?
Well, it was very different because last season they had a random draw. So this we only had one person doing all the drawings. Like the Wind went for OGS and Team Liquid to just pick the groups, and they just pick the groups by drawing names out of a hat. This time they had like the old Star League format where all the seeded players pick one player each, and then that player picks another player, and the next player picks the last player for each. So I picked fourth. Me and Nesty were tied in terms of seed for last season, but they asked me who I wanted to pick first between us, and I said, well, he's like more accomplished. He won a GSL. He's finished well in more GSL, so I think he should pick before me. And
Very honorable of you.
Yeah, but it felt I couldn't go like, well, I'm gonna pick before Nesty because
No, that's
why?
okay.
Yeah, I felt like those league ranking points have to give him something at least. So yeah, and I wasn't really worried because I had a lot of people that were like potential first choices, right? And I knew what a couple of people were picking, and I knew I would have at least one of my top 3 choices by the time I was going fourth. So it wasn't a big sacrifice.
Well,
But yeah, it was fun.
I imagine so, and it's a nice thing to watch too. It really sets the mood. But the GSL will kick off fairly soon, the regular March season. Currently it's the Team League, where Liquid sadly isn't participating due to lack of, members really present in Korea. But
Yeah.
I thought we could spend some time talking about the groups, as I did with TLO, with the assembly groups last week. And let's start off with you, even though you're in Group C. You are in the same group as Polt Prime, Rainbow, and Czech. That's 2 Terran players and 1 Zerg. You said you had at least one favorite pick. Which one was that?
Well, I would say I had 3, well, like one for each race. That was like, this guy is my first Poros pick, my first Terran pick, my first Zerg pick. The Terran picks, it's not a big difference between them, but Polt was my first pick because one, I've beaten him before, so there's a little bit of confidence there.
Mm-hmm.
He's good at TVT, but I know I can beat him. And 2, he's Terran. I don't think he's gonna pick a Poros player, not on these new maps. So that's good for me too. And other than that, it was like a coin flip between several different Terrans. But the fact that I played Polt before makes it like some familiarity.
Okay.
That was why he's my first pick, basically. I don't really feel there's a huge difference between him and some of the other guys, so...
And when it comes to Rainbow and Czech, Czech of course being the Zerg player.
Oh, I haven't played Rainbow in forever, but I'm pretty pleased with having him there because he's Terran again, and Honestly, the new maps, they're fine TVC, and they're, of course, fine TVT. A map can't be bad TVT, right? But TVP, they are very, 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 very hard. Um, so anytime I get a player that's not Protoss, I'm basically fine. That's kind of boring, but that's what I said. Before, when I picked Paul, I said, I'm going to pick a player that's not Protoss, indicating that I don't really care who I pick, but it's not a Protoss player.
And that's coming from a guy who has shown that he can beat very good Protoss players in former GSLs. So I guess you're feeling pretty confident about your group then.
Yeah, it's a good group. It's definitely a group I can make it out of. So
That's sweet.
I'm never gonna like underestimate anyone, especially not people with strong teams like both Pulp and Rainbow and Czech. But I know I can beat everyone in the group. So it's like not Group A, where I could very easily finish third or fourth. Anyone in Group A could finish third and fourth, actually. So, yeah.
Well, let's start off with Group A then, and quickly go through it all so that people can hear your view on the current stage. Group A, it's MVP, obviously a name known to everyone, the winner of last season, and Hyperdub, that's Terran, Julysurg, the God of War, and as well as MC, your housemate. Now, that is one devilish group. Can't be easy for anyone. Not even MVP can be certain of walking through that. Or
no, I mean, I think MVP is very likely to at least finish second, but
yeah,
it's still a very hard group. You can't underestimate anyone like Julysurg ever, because he hasn't had any real StarCraft 2 success yet, but he's got that winner instinct, right? So
oh yes,
if he gets a good day, good practice, and takes it really seriously, something could happen, right? Especially with these new maps, which play a lot more like StarCraft 1. But yeah, MVP and MC are the favorites. It's just a very good group. And I think Hyperdub is a bit underrated because I don't feel like he's shown what he can actually do when he's played on TV. He's a lot stronger than he used to be in terms of his in-house practice games. So he's not the kind of easy pick some people might view him as. I feel like I have to stick up for him a bit here.
Yeah. Well, I like Hyperdub too, just as an observer of his games. He seems to have a cool style.
Oh yeah, he has his own style. Has had his own style forever. Everyone used to call him Banshee Man because he went Banshee every TVP. Banshee Marine. He basically invented that back in beta.
Well, we'll see if he can Banshee his way out of that group. It's not likely, but things certainly can happen.
Yeah.
And
it's a tough group.
It is a tough group, and we'll spend some time talking about the new maps in a while. But I do want to definitely talk about Group B, where
the best.
Yes, I mean Idra and Clyde, the Tastosis favorite, best player of the GSL apparently, with Senio, another housemate of yours, Zerg of course, and Buyun, yeah, that guy, also playing Terran. Your thoughts? Because I don't know.
Group B for best group ever.
Yeah,
I mean, it has so much lovely drama and history and
very much
such good players. Like everyone here is really good at the matchups being played. Bute and Clyde both have really strong TVTs and really nice TVCs. I would imagine. I haven't seen Bute's TVC, but he's like, I think some people might know him better as Next Excrement. He's been a high-ranking ladder player for a long time. Did pretty good in Game Ward, if I remember correctly, and had really impressive games against Top in the Code A finals. So this group is, I think, everyone has potential for really close games. So, and of course, Idra and Senio have this huge backstory from GSL. What was it?
Number two, I think.
Yeah.
I think he used Overseers to goop Idra's main and an advanced strategy on Delta Quadrant, wasn't it? Yes.
Yes, it was. A wonderful game. And then he did the backhand ceremony after beating him.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And Idra and Clyde have history from last GSL, where Clyde picked Idra. I don't know if I guess it was translated most likely, but when Clyde was picked this time, he said, "Thank you for picking me. If I had been able to pick again, I'd have picked you." because revenge time. I
Payback
guess.
it is.
I gotta love Idra's comment when he picked him though. He said before revealing who he picked, he said, "I had someone I played a game against last season that I really liked. I'm gonna try to get it again." Like for a second, I thought he was gonna pick Genius and was like trolling because he won so easily against Genius with the roach attack.
Yeah.
But no, he picked Glide, which was actually a pretty good game.
Well, he is an entertainer, Idra, no matter what you
Yeah.
say.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
that's going to be a crowd pleaser for sure. And yeah, Group B for best group, quite possibly. But then we move on to Group D, which is not bad either because it has Nada in it, and hence it's tied for best group by default. But it also includes the best, Terran, Hongun, as in Hongun Prime, the Protoss player, who showed us some neat strategies, perhaps a bit cheesy, but I still enjoyed it, and OGS Top, whom I met at DreamHack, by the way. Cheers. What are your thoughts on that group?
Oh, it's a tough group too. Actually, there's a lot of tough groups, but Top is like the player I least wanted in my group, so I'm happy he didn't get here because he's definitely one of the most solid tires in Korea right now.
And he
At
has to face
DreamHack,
Nada.
I don't think you saw the true top. I don't think you
No,
saw the true
no.
top since a long time. Well, he did in the Code A games. That was the true top. He's very good, but this group, I would say Nada and Top are the two favorites, but looking at how the best prepared, like just looking at the build to use against Yos in GSL 3, I saw that he prepares pretty good, right? And he shockingly advanced from his group last time, I think, to get a bit nasty, I want to say. So he's not like, I wouldn't count him out completely. And of course, you have Hongun who made the semifinals, and the maps are pretty good for pros. But even saying all this, I still think and hope Nada and Top can make it through. I feel like they are the two best players in the group.
It would be great to see them advance, truly. As a pure fanboy,
Oh yeah,
at the
and
very least.
that too.
But yeah, I think it's safe to say that Nada is always a favorite, and OGS Top has truly showed some impressive moves and potential.
Yeah, I would say Top is the favorite for the group, probably.
Well, if Jinro says so, then that probably is the case. We'll look forward to that group definitely and see if Hongun pulls something very crazy out of his sleeve, because he pretty much has to. And then we move.
Maps just need to play good. Some of the maps are so stupid.
Very well.
Group B.
I look forward to it nevertheless. And Group E is of course a truly epically packed one, because it includes Nesty, D Nesty, and Boxer, as in Slayer's Boxer, OGS and Sneer, and Protoss player San. That is also a very tough group. Or
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't want to rule out San because he feels rude, but
come on, you can be a bit rude if it's honest.
it's like San, and then there's these. Oh, he feels so out of place here.
He does, doesn't he? I mean,
Not because he's a bad player, but because there's Nesty in this group, and then there's a name like Boxer and Snare. I mean, it's been a while since San last played, and it's certainly possible that he's at the level needed to make it out of this group. But it feels to me like it's gonna be Nesty and either Snare or Boxer, and that one is tough to call. And Snare is like really strong CVP player, I think. At least when he's on his game, he has really good patience, a really calm playstyle. Never gives up. Always attacks everywhere. Very, very strong for TVT. And Boxer's best matchup is definitely TVT. So close group. I would say Nesty probably makes it out, and I hope Snare takes it. But my ideal would probably be Boxer and Snare, but yeah, I think Nesty is just the best
Nesty
player
would have
right
to
now.
be the favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess it depends on how Boxer feels at that day, whether his unique style will prevail or not.
His TVT is just extremely solid, I think. Like, TVT, he used well, certainly has potential to play something funky, but his TVT standard game is very good. So he doesn't really need to. I haven't seen his TVC in such a long time. I don't really know what it looks like, except I saw it against the Wind, I guess. And isn't this the second time he faces Nesty in a very short time? Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Shakura's, he tried to do that 4 barracks thing and almost succeeded. Like the block in the middle with the proxy. Yeah, that was a nice idea, but unlucky timing, I guess.
Well, I guess he felt he needed to do that, and he's also very eager to please viewers by doing the boxer thing. And
yeah, he's the true showman.
Yes,
true showman.
That can be a downfall at times as well, because solid strategies are good for a reason. So it's always fun to see Boxer play, but it's even better to see him advance rather than falling due to some extraordinary move that should never have been conceived.
Yeah, it is.
But moving on to Group F, it has Choya, of course Protoss, Lin, Terran, Banbans of Zenith, I believe, Protoss again, and OGS The Wind, a fearsome Zerg player. Will OGS The Wind stomp this one through? Choya is quite good, isn't he?
This group, I think this group is hard because Lin looked quite impressive to me in the Kode games. Like he's come a long way, and Choya keeps getting up there, keeps doing pretty good. Banban didn't look that bad against Top. He got like the hardest opponent in Kode, but it didn't look that bad. He had good openings, and then he lost the big fights, but up until the big fights, he looked very good. So then we have the Wind, who has so much experience and is a smart player, but as you know, he's mostly a manager now.
Yeah.
I think, so it's a very, very tough group for me. I actually have no idea who's going to advance. It's entirely possible the Wind pulls it out again and stays Codes for another season. So that's entirely possible, and it's entirely possible that he doesn't. I have absolutely no idea who to expect to go through here. Maybe Choya and Lin as my favorites. Maybe. It's tough.
Well, we'll just have to see. Of course, Lin is an old Warcraft 3 player, I believe, and has shown some quite good potential. And it's nice to see how the micro-intensivity of Warcraft 3 players can really get them far. But that will be an interesting group to watch.
Yeah, Lin was basically the most successful Warcraft 3 player in the world for I'm not sure if it was 2008 or 2009, but there was one of those years where he was completely dominant, basically, and he's stayed at the very top since. So yeah, he's definitely someone with huge potential, and I think he's looking like he's starting to unlock that in Starcraft 2.
Yeah, and we'll see if Grubby, another Warcraft 3 player who's playing at Assembly this coming weekend, can also show how the same kind of potential can shine through in SE2.
Mm-hmm. He's a bit earlier in his progress, though.
Yeah, I think
Lin has been around. Yeah, Lin has been around since beta, I think, and he's been in a few GSLs, at least one before this, I think. So,
yeah, of course, Lin might take it. We'll just have to see. And moving on to the second to last group, Group G, we have Trickster, AnyPro, Genius, that's 3 Protosses, against Fruit Dealer, the winner of Season 1, a very unique Zerg.
There's only 4 us players in this group. Let's move on. I'm just kidding, but the Trickster nickname it annoys me. You know, his Korean name is Seogisu, and his Korean nickname is Sagisu. Sagi means like imbalanced, so I think that's a much cooler nickname than Trickster.
I agree.
So yeah. Anyway, I think you'd have to put him and Genius as favorites, but I think CVP is hard right now, and I think most Zergs agree. But I haven't seen CVP on the new maps, so depending on that, Fruit Dealer might go through. But I think Trickster and Genius are the 2 favorites, despite how random PvP is. And Genius, actually both Genius and Trickster have a tendency to not live up to how good they are perceived to be. So I could totally see them not doing it again, but still, those would be my 2 picks.
All right. Well, we'll just have to see. And moving on.
I would hope for Gila though, because he's like fun.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's a glory kid. You want to see him move on.
And he gives the best interviews. He gives the best interviews, man. I'm not sure if you read the one he gave to maybe Wygoso. I don't know, but it was good stuff.
He is an inspiring person in more ways than one, and it would be cool to see him advance. He's caught our hearts, truly. And then, of course, we have Group H with Marine King Prime, a name that should mean a lot to you, of course. And Kirix, Zerg, SC, FOU, Terran, and OGS Inca, who was also at DreamHack 2010, Protoss player. A tough group to predict for a novice like me, but what do you think?
Marine King and Inca. I think SC4U is not a bad player, nor is Kyrix, but I haven't seen as much from Kyrix as I used to. For a while, he basically pioneered the no lair, free base, baneling, late lair strat against Terran, and it was really good for a while. But I haven't really seen him since, I want to say December in the E-Stars. That's like the last time I saw him get far anywhere. And yes, he did beat Marine King that time in the finals, but I'm pretty sure Marine King is going to get revenge this time.
Yeah,
he just seems like the one with the stronger form right now. As long as he didn't get too down on himself from the finals, I think he's going to advance from this group, yeah. And Inca, I think, gonna advance as first or second. SC4U is not a bad player, but you couple the fact that Inca is very good, Marine King is very good.
Very good.
The new maps are very nice for Protoss. I think Inca is gonna be first or second.
Well, Marine King is Marine King, and he's proven his worth. I don't know if he's prone to doubting himself and getting upset about losses, because nearly winning, as in losing, a GSL final can really get you down. Some players are sensitive to that, others can shake it off and just move on.
I think he's young enough. I think he's young enough to be able to move on. He's only like, 17 or 18? Very young.
Yes, and you can almost sense that in his play style as well. It's messy, it's ultra aggressive, it's all over the place. Yet, of course, very, very effective.
I mean, look at Nesty. He wins his first tournament big tournament at 29, I think. So, Marine King has a lot of time to win his tournament, and he's gonna win one. He's gonna win one. He just plays so much and plays intelligently. I think he's going to win something pretty soon.
Judging from your tone of voice and well-mannered words, I take it that you do not harbor any gamer hatred or nerd rage towards Marine King, even though he bested you in the last round of the tournament.
He played good. No, none whatsoever. He played good and he deserved to win. There's actually even one more reason why I think Nesty deserved the third pick, because he lost to the champion, I lost to the second place. So. Yeah.
Totally fair, and you all have another chance at the title now.
Indeed.
Yes, that will be very nice to see. What date does it all kick off again exactly? I'm trying.
I actually don't know.
No,
I don't know. I think. I haven't even gotten contacted about map elimination yet, because obviously today was the first day they knew who was actually playing in each group. So they're probably going to have to do some more things before everything is like set. They probably want to finish GSTL first.
Yes.
There's still quite a few weeks left, I would say. I mean, there's 2.5 weeks left in February, and it doesn't start until March as far as I'm aware, so...
No, it's GSL March for a reason, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's nevertheless going to be a truly epic event, and I use the word epic a lot, but I mean it every time.
I think it's gonna be the best GSL so far. I think the new maps, despite me saying, "Oh, they're so hard against Protoss," I think they are good for the game overall because I think they make TBC an extremely good matchup. At least from my limited experience playing them so far, but TBC on these new maps is just really good. I've never seen PvC on the new map, so I don't actually know what it looks like. But TVP, in my experience, is it's hard, but at least it's not the kind of boring game you get when you get close positions on metal or something like that. It's not really that type of game. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I'm happy the maps are there, and I'm gonna give it some more time before I finally say, oh, these maps are just impossible. Right now, they feel definitely impossible, but yeah, it's gonna give it some time still.
And do you have any favorites among the new maps? I'm going to show a graphic of them as we speak in the interview, or any particular thoughts, ideas?
I guess Crevasse. I think that's what it's called in English.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one because it has, despite being a very big map, it has some very nice push vectors for TVC. So it's a big map, but because of how you can push through the destructible rocks at a lot of positions, you actually have pretty nice mid-game timing, and you get to do really macro-intensive openings, leading into games where both players have the ability to remake and throw away tons of units in big fights. It's just a very scrappy and fun map, I think.
Yeah,
I think all the maps are. I mean, I'm not sure how Terminus is going to look TVC, but other than that, I think they're all going to be pretty fun TVC. So, but I would say Crevasse is my favorite, with Crossfire as second, maybe. Talarim. The thing I really like about that map is that it's just so open. There's so much room to just flank, run around, move around. But it's also so big. It's so big. It takes, scouting that map takes forever. By the time you get to their base, they have a mothership out, basically.
Macro game.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know how with Warpin, it's a macro game for Protoss. But the other races have to keep in mind that distance doesn't mean the same thing for a Protoss player. So that is my biggest gripe with the big maps, that for Terran and Zerg, both players can change their game quite drastically. They can be like, I'm not going to get bunker rushed. Unless he proxy racks in the middle, and that's like huge risk. If it doesn't do that, I'm not going to get bunker rushed. I can expand safely. Or I'm not going to get, he's not going to go pull first, he's not gonna baiting bust me, he's gonna macro, so I can also macro. You know? So in that case, both players can macro and take advantage of the way the new map plays. But when you play a Protoss player, you have to do something that both deals with his extreme macro openings, like the one gate nexus or no gate nexus or anything like that, and also doesn't die when he does something aggressive with like a super fast 4 warp gate. Because you can't just go no Rex command center against Protoss and expect not to die, which is a little bit of a problem, I feel. But yeah, it's I'm still extremely happy they made these new maps, because
absolutely,
I think in the end, having the game balanced for these maps is going to be so much healthier for the watchability of the game.
Yes,
we had a bunch of in-game team battles here in the OGS house for things like doing dishes or everything like that. Doing dishes, buying ice cream, buying dinner, things like that. And the games have been really good, especially the TVC games have just been so fun to watch, with things happening all over the maps, huge pushes extending across the entire center. It's just been good, very good stuff.
Okay. Well, that's of course the greatest thing from the old Brood War era, how, of course, that was under Kesper, but still, how they revitalized the game and its metagame every season by putting in new maps that were built with the thought in mind to change things up. If there was a current trend where Terran was winning everything for whatever reason, they made a map that made it impossible to use that strategy that had been popular up until then, and etc. That was the greatest thing with a new season, all the new maps. And I know Blizzard are releasing test maps to do it on the regular ladder, and now GomTV has made these maps. It's very inspiring as a viewer, and as a pro gamer who plays it like 10 hours a day, it must be really, really welcome.
Yeah, it's like a mini expansion, basically. Yeah. It's great.
It is.
I gotta say, I would prefer it if Blizzard just implemented the maps from big leagues, like the GSL into ladder, because...
Yeah, it would make things easier, wouldn't it?
They have made some good maps, like I would say Salaga is a very good map, great example of a good map, maybe the first example of a really good map in Starcraft 2. But they also have made some maps that are not very good at all, and I would say that it would be much better for anyone trying to become a regular in these big leagues to be able to practice the league maps in ladder.
Yes.
Even if it means adding new maps more often or having a bigger map pool, I feel like that's better still. But I gotta at the same time commend GomTV for how they seem to be listening and trying to improve their product every season. It took them a few seasons to make new maps, but I can't really blame them because the game was so new, and it's very hard to figure out how do I make a map that's not ruining the game even more. But they have not added more maps, and unlike last season, we do not have two group stages. We only have one group stage now. So it's straight to tournament play from round of 16 onwards. Mm-hmm. In addition, in season 3 and before, they had best of 7 for the semifinals, which I personally feel is just too many games at that stage and makes the finals a lot less significant. Like, yeah, right. And ever since GSL 4, well, GSL January, they do not have best of 7 for the semifinals, which is another thing they changed to make it better. In addition, I know a lot of people were very disappointed that me and Ija met again after meeting in the group play, and they have fixed that now. So the first place in a group and second place in a group cannot meet again until the finals. They get on completely different sides of the bracket.
That is very good, and
that is very good.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either, but they handed us before we picked groups. They handed us like how the seating would be, and that's just. I was very happy to see that, especially with MC and MVP in the same group. I'm sure anyone who watches this game is gonna be ecstatic about that because having a best of 7 between them. I mean, come on, I want to be in the finals, right? But best of 7 between MC and MVP. I'm down.
Yeah, we all want
I can do it at the semi-final. That's okay.
Yeah.
One semi-final, I have time.
Of course. No, but it is great to see that GomTV truly wants to make a very watchable product, and that they work so hard in going the extra mile, unlike some other esports organizations in the same country perhaps, to really cater to the viewers and to the pro gamers, who of course are entertainers as much as they are cyber athletes or whatever you want to call it. Yeah,
I think they're doing a good job, but they are definitely new to this whole thing. They don't have the years of experience that NBC and OnGameNet did. But I'm really impressed by their willingness to improve their product constantly. I think give it a year or something, and we'll have something very, 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 very good. We already have something great, but it's gonna be even better.
Well, I can only agree and look forward to see 2011 unfold. And before we round this off, Jinro, because this interview is quite awesome, but it's getting quite long, I'd just like to pick your brain on the foreign scene, which of course you come from. You come from Sweden, and you've been playing Brood War for a decade. You're known as Frozen Arbiter on Team Liquid. I don't know how many posts, but they are many. And you've been very, very active. And the foreign scene was always, back in StarCraft 1, very small and unprofessional in most ways. We didn't have the infrastructure to be anything but amateurs. And the Korean scene was what we all try to look like and aspire to. Now this is kind of happening, I would say. We are seeing more and more large-scale foreign leagues, team leagues, Dignitas last week, for example. It's things are happening. More money is getting pumped in, and the infrastructure is expanding. Yada yada. It's looking promising. But in your very honest opinion, who've got lots of experience from both worlds, Korea and the foreign scene, how does it look? How does it compare? And what do you predict for the foreign scene and its potential in the coming year and beyond?
Well, if it keeps going, if it keeps going like this with this amount of interest, I don't think it can go anywhere but up. But something to keep in mind is that the Korean StarCraft 2 scene right now, with how the political situation is nowhere near what the StarCraft 1 scene is or was.
Yeah, of course.
It's right now one big organization that's keeping the scene going, and it's big and professional enough to keep it going to an extent where it is the biggest StarCraft 2 scene in the world. But once the political situation clears up, I could see South Korea being 10 times what it is now. So that's something to keep in mind. However, the foreign scene, I can't say I keep good enough track of it to really say how it's going. But every time I go to Team Liquid and look to the right, see the calendar section,
yes,
there's always a tournament. There's always a stream from a tournament. It's always really good players playing, and there's always a lot of people watching. So unless something really strange happens, I would be really surprised to not see it go places, so to speak. I think people are already starting to make enough money that it can live on it, and yeah, there's more and more things happening in 2011. As far as the rumors I've heard, everything's going to be bigger, better, faster, stronger.
And all that good stuff.
It's a good year, yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, it's going places. It's my verdict.
Well, I think everyone would agree, and everyone shares that hope. Question is, I think, not if, but rather how, and how it will be consolidated, and etc. But it's inspiring, truly. And, well, we just have to look forward to 2011. We have the Team Liquid Star League coming up soon, and that's going to be nothing less than epic, etc., etc. Jinro, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you as a guest on the show, and soon we will see you compete in the GSL once again. It is truly epic, and there I said it again. Any final closing words, shout-outs, mentions you'd like to give to the viewers?
Oh, yeah, I'm always bad at this, but thanks for having me, and thanks to everyone for watching, everyone for cheering for me during the GSL, during anything I play, really. Special thanks to all the people that come up to me after GSL games. Special shout out to all the Swedes that showed up for the GSL 3 semifinals. That was very, very surprising and very nice.
Woohoo!
And of course, thanks to my team, both OGS and Team Liquid. I mean, Team Liquid is my team, but OGS is like the buddy team, so to speak.
Brothers in
like
arms.
The brother team. That's a better way of putting it. And of course, thanks to my sponsor, Little App Factory, for always supporting us, sending us all over the world to basically every tournament with prize money,
Yeah.
which is a lot of them. So
Nowadays, yeah.
And I hope Liquid can have a really good 2011, hopefully alongside a really good year for StarCraft 2 as a whole.
Truly, and I think we'll see Liquid do a very good showing this weekend in Helsinki, Finland at Assembly. And
yeah, I think so too.
with a bit of luck, I can get hold of Rhett before then or shortly after. And of course, I want to talk to HeyPro and Tyler as well. Expect that soon, dear viewer. So yes, thank you very much, Jinro. And I know it's very late where you are, but being a gamer, I'm sure your day has only just begun, and you'll do a lot of laddering before going to bed by dawn, maybe.
I'll play a few games. Maybe not dawn, hopefully. Hopefully not.
Well, just keep doing what you're doing. It is great. It's taking new places and StarCraft 2 with it. So keep at it. GG and thank you very much.
GG and out.
GG and out. You want BlizzCon or many other things? Then we have OGS MC, of course, Season 3 in the GSL, one of the most dangerous broadcasters out there. But only, of course,